What would you say would be the best way for someone to improve their roleplay to bring it to another level?
So I think that people who feel like they're kind of stagnating or struggling with roleplay should think about the why of what their character is doing. I think a lot of people get so caught up in backstories and the history of a character and try to make the backstory like this cohesive kind of storyline. And I don't really think a backstory needs to be that, and I don't think a backstory should be the focus of a character. I think that people should focus more on what do I want my character to do, and then they get to the why, and the backstory can help you find the answer to the why. So, like, for example, why would my character, who is from Charlene, go to Eorzea? Why does she have to do that? And I was like, well, she could have gone to study something, but I decided on, well, she's a criminal and she's running away. So she's hiding out in Eorzea because nobody's really going to want to look for her there, especially if she changes her name. So I think, and I think that it's very easy to get caught up in that because you, especially if you're a new role player and new to roleplay in general, I think it can be really intimidating to hear about all these characters that are so like well thought out and have so much depth to them, and then you're sitting there with like, yeah, this is my dude who likes to punch things. But that's like okay. I don't care as much about him, like what led up to him punching things. I like to know that he's punching things now, and I like to know more about what's going on with your character in the present. I think that the more lively roleplay comes from people who care more about how their character is interacting with the world around them as it's happening, as opposed to being so focused on the past. And you know, backstories are meant to be supplementary, but they shouldn't be the focus of roleplay.
So pretty much you're telling focus more on the now instead of the past first.
Yeah, use the past as a way to explain the now, but don't think too hard about it.
That's like super good advice in real life as well. But yeah, so yeah, pretty much like you pretty much try to go with the flow, like do thing now and think, okay, why would I do that? Would that be connected to my past, or is it just something I want to do? Would that be something good?
Yeah, a lot of my character traits actually kind of built up on a whim. I was like, okay, I want my character to do this thing, and then when I got done role-playing, I thought about why in like on my downtime and was like, okay, that makes sense. So then that became part of her backstory.
Like you think if that's something you can incorporate to your character and write a little story about that or something like that.
Yeah.
That makes it so much easier to write a character that way instead of just going with like a super detailed story and you feel locked to that story at the end. So
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. What would be some of the big do's and don'ts in RP?
I think that entirely depends on the group you're trying to roleplay with. I think that a common courtesy, though, is don't roleplay the Warrior of Light, because everybody is the Warrior of Light in their own playthrough of this game, and I think that it's asking a lot of people to interact with you as the hero of literally everything. I know I personally wouldn't be comfortable role-playing with that. I think that if you're looking for a lore-compliant group, then you should be willing to be lore-compliant. I think a lot of lore-compliant groups are willing to bend a little bit, especially because there are so many things that we haven't explored. And I think another one, the other big one I would say, is be mindful of your character's power level. This is also why I think that role-playing the Warrior of Light is such a big no-no. It kind of sucks to be like doing combat with people whose characters can just literally do everything and are super powerful and don't die or don't get injured, because it kind of makes other people feel irrelevant. And I think that roleplay is a it's a two-way street. You know, you're collaborating with people. You want everybody to feel invested. So it's important to keep that in mind when you're role playing, that it's not just about you.
So pretty much don't be a big Marisu about your character.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like, if everybody in your group is super powerful and like on god levels, then that's fine. I think it's mostly comes down to how what you want to do and if you are reading the room or not.
Like, don't try to stand out so much that you end up trying to stand on top of everybody.
Yes, exactly. Because I'm happy to work with a lot of concepts. And again, I don't judge anybody who wants to roleplay any way they want. You're allowed to roleplay however you want. I just think that if you do something, especially like the Warrior of Light, which is MSQ, that also means that your character would be affecting someone else's canon. And that doesn't always sit well with other people. There are people who don't care. I've met people who don't care. But I think the majority of people who are role-playing in an MMO would prefer to be their own things, separate from the MSQ. Like, I know in the lore-breaking FC, my friend told me about one of them turned into a primal. I thought that was fine because, like, that's their own story. But nobody in that FC, as far as I know, is, like, playing the Warrior of Light. I think that's just the big hard no. That's you know, Mr. Midlander.
Like, you're pretty much just a regular, like, you can go on adventure and stuff like that, but you're not like defeating like the end thing for the end of the world and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, some people do roleplay like that, but I think it's way more fun to develop my own little stories.
And also, when you talk about primal, that gave me an idea for a RP. Someone thinking they are a primal and they're trying to recruit people to worship them. Yeah.
Oh, that would be really cool, yeah.
But that would require so much work.
Like an FC and the tag is just cult.
I think that tag exists on Balmog already, so pretty
I
sure.
think you can have the same tag, it's just the name that you'd have to be unique about. Because I've seen people run around with TCC.
Maybe something about capital letters and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That could be a thing. But yeah, like a whole FC of like they want to do that, but they're like worshipper of the FC leader, and the FC leader is a fake primal.
That would be really cool.
And in fact, it's just at the end you just realize it's just someone scamming people and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a criminal RP at the end, after all.
That would be really cool. I think I would love to hear about an FC like that.
There's so many
a
like
primalid scheme.